Welcome back. Let's talk about AI, human sacrifice, and science. Alrighty. So before I start shitting on AI for a minute, because I really fucking hate it. Like I really fucking hate it. There are some benefits to a society having access to artificial intelligence. Um, for the benefits, though, they have to stay at the most basic usages. Um, the logging data, uh, artificial intelligence would be perfect at the mind-numbing work that most humans hate doing. Nobody likes doing data entry. It's tedious. It's time-consuming. It's fucking. It kills the strive to learn. It kills the strive to do something. Uh, I've seen numerous examples of AI being used to help artists with different kinds of creative blocks, whether that be a writer's block or a painter coming across an issue of not knowing what topic to paint. Um, it can also be used really efficiently in speeding up calculations in like rocket science or chemistry that otherwise would have taken mathematicians years to take care of. Hey, Scarlett. Um, so there are some benefits to it. It's just that those benefits aren't usually weighed by uh, the risks, and there are some pretty big risks to it. Girl, um, you could start with the big one. Uh, AI on big scale, like in data centers, it can be horrible for the environment if the cooling processes aren't made with the environment in mind. They don't have to use water. Okay, they could use refrigerant cooled systems. I'm not sure the logistics of that. I'm not a tech savvy person. I just know that it's possible. If it wasn't possible, people wouldn't be using that in their systems using a different form of coolant than utilizing water. Uh, outside of that, the usage. People are using AI for the stupidest fucking shit. You should not be using AI to create art. It's not art. I'm not going to call it that. I refuse to refer to it as that. Um, it I get that AI needs to learn, that it needs to be taught things, and then it needs to run through codes and go through training, that kind of shit. But they're burning books. There are systems where they could scan these books into the softwares without hurting the book, without causing any damage to the book. But instead, they use machines that rip the spine off the fucking book, and then as soon as the pages are scanned, they go into a shredder, get shredded, and then they get taken off to go burnt. So it's not the same way that Germany was doing it. Not the same way that the Library of Alexandria was burnt, but we are going to lose more knowledge and information and wisdom than we did when the Library of Alexandria burnt. It's just fucking asinine. For fuck's sake, burning books is never a good choice. I don't care what the book says. I have some I have some books over here that say some heinous ass shit. I ain't gonna burn them because people need to remember that people like that did fucking exist. And if we're not careful, they come back like the Nazis. And true AI, in the true AI, like actual genuine artificial intelligence, can't be fucking controlled, and people need to stop thinking they can control it. This has been foreseen. We have talked about this in dozens of books, movies, and so on. It's just, it's Pandora's box. It was Pandora's box back when it was opened. It's never going away. The impact that AI has had on our society will be everlasting. Whether we get rid of it or not, it will be everlasting, and it will be a imprint on our history forever. And there is no getting around that. And in the sense of, this is a polytheism channel in sorts, I do want to touch on the fact that AI is basically becoming a god. Go check out Broken Rune on YouTube. They have a really good video out about whether AI could be considered becoming a god or not. It's worth a listen if you're into that kind of topic. So, eh, in summary, yeah, no, AI is just there. The risks and the damages of it are outweighing the good currently. It could change. We could put a shit ton of restrictions on it. But as long as it's being used for authoritarian purposes and capital greed, it's going to be nothing but a detriment to our societies.
I know, I know. But Rain, we're not supposed to support human sacrifice. You're thinking of it way too specific, and you're thinking of it way too localized and specified. Um, cause let's get it out of the way right now. I if a god, hi Scarlet, go ahead. I know. Uh, if a god tells you that you should just off a random fucking person in a majorly torturous fucking manner, just because they want to, they want to watch you do it, or they want to test your dedication, that that's fucking weird. It Under no circumstances should we ever be taking innocent life. That's fucking ridiculous. Um, or at least if there are any that are okay with it, they're sure as hell probably not okay with it being done in their name. So it should be utilized in an empirical sense. And what I mean by that is we already use it. You just don't. Modern society doesn't call it human sacrifice. We call it things like the death penalty, or abortion, or uh, assisted suicide. Like, eh, it's wrong to do it if it's unjustified, just like any of those other things. If it's unjustified, or there's no basis for it, then it shouldn't be being done. With that being said, there are bases for it. Uh, like rapists, pedophiles, and mass murderers should be executed publicly. They should be executed publicly. I'm not going to apologize for saying that, nor will I ever take that back. Damn. Uh, if they're in prison but they cannot be rehabilitated, whether they refuse to, or no, every attempt to rehabilitate them has failed, we need to find something else to do with them. If it's not something regarding violence, or fucking so be it. If it's not something regarding rape, pedophiles, or a mass murderer, if it's not one of those heinous ass fucking crimes, then we can come together and figure out another solution. I'm not coming up with all of this. It, I am well aware of how extreme it sounds to just say outright, I support human sacrifice. Because without the details, it with the way that modern society interprets it most of the time, it's just not an easy one to go over with. Uh, and like I was saying, that there are things that we consider or that I consider a human sacrifice that most of society probably wouldn't, and like abortion, assisted suicide, and pulling the plug. Whenever if somebody's on life support and they're just being held on by machines and they wouldn't want that or their family wouldn't want that, then you're sacrificing a life for the well-being of other lives. Assisted suicide. Sometimes death is better than the suffering that one would inhabit depending on their situation in their physical body. Girl, if you don't stop getting on my desk and laying down right on top of my keyboard, we're going to have issues. You can go up there to your baby. Yeah, there you go. Abortion is a human sacrifice. I'm in complete support of it, by the way. Like, that's, if that isn't apparent by how I'm talking about everything, I am in complete support of the right to choose because I stand on freedom in the most absolute sense. A fetus is not a baby. A baby is a child. A fetus is not a child, but a fetus is a human. It's the first step in humans becoming humans. You're a fetus, then you're a child, then you're a fucking person. I will happily debate that. That's a good. That's something that I've noticed that when I did get into the debate stuff on the abortion because I didn't do it very much. I identify as a dude and I got a dick between my legs. My say on abortion only needs to be heard if somebody in my position is trying to force their beliefs onto somebody who the abortion stuff actually affects physically and physiologically. Um, One of the reasons that I'm perfectly fine with human sacrifice, is it's just another living sacrifice. Okay, if you're okay, and I understand that some people aren't okay with living sacrifices, but you remember how broad I was talking about with the human sacrifice thing? Okay, a living sacrifice, I consider gardening a living sacrifice. If you're properly taking care of your garden or your greenhouse, or uh, if you're going fishing, hunting, those are living sacrifices that you're doing for the well-being and for another. They're empirical. They're not they're not entirely spiritual, although you could see them as spiritual because everything has a spiritual essence. Living sacrifices are part of day-to-day life as a mammalian creature. Same thing with if you live on a farm, grew up on a farm, have a homestead, you work at a conservation site, or if you have chickens or something in your backyard, culling when you get a disease or a highly aggressive genetic line, sometimes culling is necessary in those aspects. That is a living sacrifice. You are sacrificing the living beings here for the well-being of these here. It's a living sacrifice. Just because it's not spiritual or it's not dedicated to a god does not mean that it's not a sacrifice nonetheless. Um, with that being said, with that little rant over, there are people who support human sacrifice in some of the most grotesque and corrupted ways. And when I say that, I mean harming children is a number one absolute do not do in the majority of pagan views. Okay? And so children, or the innocent as a whole, should never be sacrificed when it comes to a human sacrifice or a living sacrifice in general, let alone a human sacrifice. Uh, which again, like what I just brought up with the abortion thing, I do not consider abortion to be child sacrifice while it is human sacrifice, because a fetus is not a child. It is a fetal sacrifice if you want to get super specific. But even then, you're not going to go into the doctor's office and ask for a fucking fetal. Goddamn. You are not going to go into the doctor's office and ask for a fetal sacrifice. You're going to go into the doctor's office and request an abortion. Same thing, different social terminologies, because one of them is not seen in the best of lights. Um, Unjustified crucifixion is another reason that we should definitely be fucking criticizing. Like, majorly criticizing. Uh, Especially the elites. If you are, uh, what happened with Alex Preddy and Renee Good, those were human sacrifices, needless human sacrifices, as well as all the others that have been killed by ICE publicly on public roads. They That's all been human sacrifice. The most grotesque and corrupted form of human sacrifice, but it was a human sacrifice nonetheless, even if the people involved did not intend for it to be like that. I am well aware that most of you guys watching probably will not agree with my stance on being in support or being pro human sacrifice. But things like the guillotine, we've been doing human sacrifice forever. I'm gonna put up a few examples here. So, this is gonna be less of a sciency course or section and more of just kind of vouching for the name of science to some of the fellow mystics out here, some of the fellow pagans. A lot of us are conspiracy theorists. I'll be talking about a lot of them in a couple other videos, but scientists are not the ones that are lying to us. They are not the ones that are trying to keep stuff away. They're not the ones trying to hide stuff. Go talk to any fucking scientist. Any one of them. I don't care where. They are going to they they are going to do everything they can to be allowed to just start spewing the information and knowledge that they know. Like it's a trait along those lines. Um, but I also want to point out that every major scientific breakthrough, the person that originally invented it went missing. Every time that somebody has created something, or invented something that would help just help everybody, they have gone missing. Everybody who has ever created a hydrogen engine has gone missing. There's one or two people out there that I know of that currently have one running and they use them regularly. They just don't say anything because they know what's going to happen if they start posting online about how it works. Um, since 2022, we're talking about 13. We're talking about 13 scientists. One or two of them can honestly be attributed to old injuries and older age. But most of them, they were working on stuff like anti-gravity research and resonance. Like they were working on stuff that very much so. Uh, they were working on things like ionocrafts, uh, different cures for diseases. It They're not our enemy. We share an enemy. It's just that they can only get the work done that they want to do. They can only learn the things they want to learn by taking that money that those people who are against us all are giving because they want certain things. Uh, eh, if you're a business owner and you want to contribute to a certain type of invention that you'd like to see get built, you can donate to an R&D fund. The federal government decides who gets those R&D funds and who doesn't, which means the federal government gets to decide which scientific research groups get the funding to do their research. Meaning, if depending on who's in power, will depend on what type of research is going to be getting done, making it really, really, really hard for them to do truly unbiased research and for us to get some good quality, high quality, unbiased scientific research done on things that some people shame. Uh, it leads right into capitalism. It's insane. Uh, because why would let's talk about cures for a second. Everyone knows that doctors want to cure people. Doctors want to help people. That's why they became doctors. It's the people who built their medical school, the people who built the training that those doctors go through. They don't want people getting better. If you get better, they stop making money off of you. Everything in this country is a business. Everything in the West is a business. Everything. Your school, your fucking hospital. It doesn't matter where you work. Everything is some form of business. Everything. If it doesn't make money, it can't survive. That's that's it's a shameful way, but it's the way of the world at the moment. Hopefully that'll change. And to jump backwards for a second, the federal government, the feds, the feds are under the executive branch of the government. If some people didn't know that, because I've noticed from my time online that a lot of people seem to just not know how our government works. The feds and the CIA are supposed to function under the executive branch of the government, meaning they have to report to and accept orders from the president. Alrighty. Outside of that, that's all the real I get into other sciencey, little sciencey stuff here and there in future ones. Um, I just need the alchemists and the witches to know scientists are not your enemy. And if there are any scientists listening, whether you're Christian, atheist, whatever, witches, druids, and alchemists are not your enemy. We wish to understand everything, and you primarily study the empirical. Nothing wrong with empirics. They're a useful tool. They just can't. They shouldn't be the only tool in your tool belt. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a little bit of a ramble, a little bit of a rant. Not as long as the last one, though. So, you guys have a lovely night. Stay safe, and may your gods be with you.